Welcome to Deb Talk with your host, Deb Darling. On this pod, I'll be asking the hard questions that life throws our way. What some are scared to talk about and others wish they did. Sex, cultura, kids being assholes, overeating, butt sex, shitty jobs, and so much more. I'm on this journey of getting to know myself and others. So come join me! Welcome to Deb Talk with your girl, Deb Darling. I am here with my special guest, Mr. Josh London.
What an intro. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you?
I am doing good. Surviving, staying alive, eating food, drinking water, you know.
That's always good. And washing your hands, I hope.
10 times a day. If not.
Yes, good. So please tell the people who you are, what you do, all that good stuff.
My name is Josh London, and I'm a photographer, wedding and portrait photographer, if I had to choose a genre, but honestly, I've been a photographer since high school, so I've bounced around from people to products to music to sports to journalism to, now weddings and portraits mostly, but yeah, basically, I'm a photographer. I don't know I always struggle with talking about myself. It's funny, but how deep do you want me to go as far as who I am? I mean,
Well, basically, like everything about you. Either that, or you can wait till I ask you a few questions, and then you can tell me whatever.
Okay. All right. Well, I started photography in 11th grade, and just have been doing it since. I'm just turned 33. Yeah, I mean.
How did you know that photography was it and that you loved it?
What comes to my mind now is, it kind of sounds corny thinking about it, but it kind of found me, I guess. I just took a class in high school, just black and white film photography, and, just didn't fall. I don't want to say I fell in love immediately, but I was interested in it. It was cool. I was pretty good at it. I felt right off the bat, had a lot to learn, clearly, but from there, I wasn't great in school, so I had planned on going to, whatever kind of college I could get into, honestly. I was lost, like most kids at, graduating high school. Didn't have good grades, so the only school that I applied to was Fitchburg State, and I got rejected. And I was like, 0 for 1, okay, not great. I said, I have to do something. So I applied to the New England School of Photography. Actually, I'm sorry, let me back that up. There's another part to that. I applied to Bunker Hill Community College just because I knew I had to do something. I had to literally do something. I didn't know what I wanted to do for work. I knew that school was a good opportunity. It just seemed like the right thing to do at the time. That's what everyone's telling you to do. You have to go to school. You have to go to school. Mm-hmm. And when I didn't get into school, I was like, all right, so I guess let me try this community. I can just enroll, I have to just pay and I can get in there. That's a step at least. So I enrolled and...
What did you major in when you...
Well, here's the thing. So I actually enrolled and I also submitted a photography portfolio to the New England School of Photography weeks before that, but I just considered it a high hope and that it wasn't going to happen. It was just, I tried just because, and that's why I enrolled at Bunker Hill. The same day that I got my first bill from Bunker Hill, in the mail behind that was, no joke, the acceptance letter to the photography school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was like, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is, truthfully. Mm-hmm. So
how long were you there?
It's only a 2-year program. Okay. So I was there. I graduated high school in June of 2005. I think, honestly, October of that year, I started. And then it's only a 2-year program. There's no math, no English, nothing like that. That's why I applied to this place in the first place. I was like,
sounds great. I should have done that.
It was amazing. So I did 1 year where it was just, the basics, history, black and white, film, a little bit of business, a little bit of portraiture, a little bit of journalism. And then the second year is when you pick your major. And that summer or the semester in between the first and second year, my car had gotten broken into, and I lost like $6,000 worth of like all my gear, all my photography gear.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
My
Did you
iPod,
cry?
my iPod, thick 64 gigabyte iPod,
Oh, that's tough.
so dated. Yeah, but that happened, and I think I broke up with my girlfriend, who is now my wife and soon to be baby mama.
It's his baby mama.
Just, that's a whole another conversation. Anyway, so I didn't go back to school for the second year and just started working. I was already working for the newspaper in Malden as well. I photographed my own prom for the newspaper. I probably should have said that as well. That was my first like legit paid gig.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How did they have the faith that you do a good job?
Honestly, through a teacher at the school. So I was taking photography in school for junior year and senior year. I was good, interested, and I was entering photos. There's like a citywide art show, and me and this other girl, Sarah, entered as photographers, and most of it was just like painting and drawing and things like that. All high school students, nothing crazy. But yeah, we had some stuff in there, got some cool ribbons, if you will. And the connection was from my teacher / photography mentor, who he taught English and media in high school, Jim Valenti. But he's also a photographer himself. He has been for like 20, 30 years, if not more. And yeah, so through him, he knew someone at the newspaper. It kind of just hooked it up like, hey, this kid's interested. I think, yeah, from there, I got an email or a call. I don't even know if email existed at that time, but and they offered me if I wanted to shoot my prom. I was like, yeah. I mean, they made it pretty clear. It was like, have fun, obviously. Take some pics, send us some, and then I brought my film camera. I shot a roll of film, and then after, I went away for the weekend, obviously, but that next week, developed the photos, got them back to him, and then they were in the newspaper, and I was officially a photographer at that point.
That's dope. So was that your first paid gig?
Yeah.
And then from then on, when were you starting to like get more business and started to get people to like?
So from there, I technically worked for the newspaper from then on. There was a couple other lead photographers who were like, doing the real work, not this like, obviously I'm just a young kid, just graduated high school. They're not giving me the real assignments. So I would shoot for the newspaper occasionally. I was in school at the time. As far as taking pictures constantly, I never thought about business. I never thought about any like, booking shoots. I really just did it because I didn't know what else to do. I was waiting tables at the time, so I had a job. I was making money, but not from photography. It was sparingly from photography at that point. That probably lasted. I haven't had a boss. Let me work backwards. I haven't had a boss in almost 8 years.
How does that feel?
I mean, now it's been so long where I'm deep in the pitfalls of it at the same time, so I've come full circle almost. But it's the greatest gift in the world. I have to remind myself every day, weekly. I'm just like, dude, you literally made it. Like,
yeah, that's
I'm not rich. I'm not, I don't own a house at the moment, but like, I set my own schedule. I work what I'm interested in working on, and it really, I get goosebumps right now. It's such a blessing.
Freedom and happiness is a success. It is a type of success. It is a type of freedom. It's a different type of feeling that working for someone else I don't think can ever give you.
I saw a saying online. It's entrepreneurs or self-employed people in general would rather work 90 hours a week for themselves instead of 40 for someone else.
That is absolutely so true.
Yeah, it's the only way for me. So I guess this leads into the next. My very first job was at GameStop, the video game store. And I was 15, I want to say. And they had a used game section. They wanted me, so every day, kids come in there. It's one of those buckets. It wasn't even on the wall. It was just like a basket of cases of games. And they would want me to alphabetize the used games. And I'm like, I understand why, and I understand the benefit. But at the same time, kids are coming in here every day and tossing them anyway. This can't be done every single day. That's just crazy. These are games no one cares about. If somebody, I don't know, I just completely disagreed with that. And I quit GameStop for that reason.
How long into you working there?
I was working there maybe a month, month and a half. You know, at first I was nervous. I was like, this is my first job. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to whatever. And I was just like, this is bizarre. This whole, like, what am I trying to say? Just what corporations are and how they operate. The humanity is just deleted from everything. It's so gross.
Yeah. Well, since we're talking about corporate jobs, let's slide into the first segment, which is the weekly inquiry. And it is, when did you know that corporate America wasn't for you?
Funnily enough, I guess I just answered that question. It was my very first meeting with it. Like I said, So, okay, I'll give you another story then. I also, from there, you know, I needed to work at some point. At 15, I survived without a job, but, you know, I was working. The first time I made money, let's go back even further, was I was 9, and I offered to fold pizza boxes for my local pizza place in exchange for food. And I was like, this is great. Like, just in the sense of like being able to earn money by myself with no structure surrounding it. Like, I kind of just made that happen. And I saw that at 9 years old, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then, of course, shoveling snow was a big thing. Any way I could make money just whenever I saw fit was how I operated. I never did anything for money where it literally hurt my soul. And that's what that GameStop experience was, which was my very first job. And then I worked at Stop and Shop as well for many years. I was a little bit older. I learned to accept it if I wanted to make money. So I was maybe 2 years working at Stop and Shop in the meat department, actually. So I would come in at night. It was like a 5 to 9 shift after everybody was cutting meat through the day. I would take apart all the machines, all the tables. You know, I'm wearing these big boots and a trench coat and like spraying everything down, cleaning it, basically. Which is nasty. You know, I could explain, but you get it. It's a butcher shop. The smell it wasn't good. And then the freezer back there where all the food is freezing, and I would just empty the carts, basically fill the shelves with what was cut during the day. 4-hour shift. I'm done cleaning. Everything's perfect. There's no more stuff to put out, but it's 7 o'clock. So now I have 2 hours to do what? I'm just going to sit around and hope that more work shows up. I can organize the case again. You know, there's nothing new to put out. Literally nothing's happening. I'm there if somebody has a question about something, like what? Being trapped, having a schedule like that is so against everything that I am. It doesn't make sense. I'll come in, I'll do the job. Pay me for the job. Why am I waiting here just because I have to be here till 9? Why? You know? So that dug in as well. They actually feel bad about the manager in the Stop and Shop, but he tried to fire me. And I should add, my brothers both worked there, so my brother was a manager of the meat department manager, and my other brother worked as well as a butcher. So, and not to mention, funnily enough, basically my entire family had worked for Stop and Shop at one point or another, and there's like 8 of us that have. Yeah, I have a lot. I should have mentioned I have many siblings. I'm one of 8.
Wait.
7.
You know how many siblings you have?
I have 7. Yeah. My mother gave birth 8 times, put it that way. Her firstborn child died at birth, but she had 7 after that. Yeah.
Do you want, with that many siblings, we'll get back to your story, but with that many siblings, do you want a big family?
Growing up with that many siblings was amazing in so many ways. But everything is, there's a flip side to everything. I never had any kind of privacy, and that's fine when you're growing up, but when you get older and you're like, wow, I literally like never had like a room or, things like that. Big families are great though. It's so fun. I don't think I do want that big of a family. As I mentioned, I have one on the way, and we're having the discussion of should we just pop out another while this one's young too? You know what I mean? We've heard that that's kind of a good way to go if you want more than one. So we're having that discussion now. I'm literally in the middle of that decision.
So so is it 2 your max, 3, or is that?
I used to
How
say
is she feeling about 4? 4 is a good number.
Yeah, 3 or 4. We're kind of in the same ballpark. My reasoning is, my logic is that 1 is an only child, for better or for worse. I don't want an only child. 2, there's an oldest and a youngest. You know, maybe there's a favorite, maybe there isn't. 3, there's a middle child. That kid could get favorited too a little more than another. I don't know. 4 just seems like a good dynamic, depending on boys and girls. But
I always say 4. I'm like, 4 is good because 3, they always say the middle child always gets left out because the oldest, because they're the oldest, and then the youngest because they're the youngest, and then the middle child's just there. But if you have 4, you have the 2 little ones and then the 2 big ones, and then they can group up and be friends.
Exactly.
4 is a great number. Yeah,
and you're talking to someone who was, 3rd from the bottom, so I'm like, you know, as the middle child as can be.
So how was that? How did your parents support you, like, throughout this journey of, like, wanting to be a photographer? Like you were saying, like, it's instilled in people, go to college, go to school, like, that's the way to go. But when you decided to go a different route, do they support that decision?
Yeah, 100%. My mom's an angel through and through. Yeah, she's literally just all love, you know. Do what you got to do, don't be an asshole. I love you, I support you. You know. Nice. Yeah, and you know, my dad's a different story. My dad's around, but he's like, my parents divorced when I was 7, I want to say. So, and even, you know, that's young as is, 7. And I don't really have many memories of him growing up, you know. My mother puts it as he's emotionally vacant. Great dude. I love him. I really do. I don't want to sound like I'm bad talking the guy. He's incredible. He just lacks dad skills, we'll say.
Not everyone's made to be a dad.
Exactly. You know, it used to be something I harbored, but I mean, just to get straight down to it, I did ayahuasca last year.
Ooh, how was that?
Yeah. That's a whole nother. It's crazy.
I heard Chelsea Handler when she was telling her experience, and I was like, I absolutely want to do it one day to just, like, reset my chakra and, like, just feel good about everything.
I have no idea. It's real.
Where did you do it? In Peru. That's what I was thinking, because I'm from Peru. So I was,
That's right. Iggy mentioned that once, and I was like, no shit. Yeah. That's crazy.
Where were you?
Peru, you were born in Peru?
No, I was born. Okay. I was born in New Jersey, and then my mom sent me to Peru to go live so I can read, write, and all that good stuff.
Nice.
So she was like, "Leave."
That's nice. Yeah.
Where in Peru did you go?
I went the whole trip. I went to Colombia and Peru. Dope. But in Peru, I did it in Iquitos.
Oh, okay.
Which is like, I'm sure you know something about it.
Yeah. You're like in las ruinas.
Basically, like deep in there. The craziest stat I heard about it was it's the biggest city, the most populated city in the world that you can only get to by boat. Well, I'm sorry, you can only get to by. There's no roads basically to another city. It's either boat or plane. That's what I was trying to say. It's just in the jungle right off the Amazon. It was.
What made you do that trip? Make that trip?
Curiosity, deep down. Maybe, you know, some problems that I wanted to work out personally, some deep shit. And I've always been the type of dude to just kind of attack that stuff straight on. Like, you know, whether it be, I don't know if you have any knowledge or experience with psychedelics, but mushrooms and acid have been, like, amazing for that purpose as far as, you know,
I've only done mushrooms twice or three times, and one time was really, really good. The second time was all right. I don't remember it much, but the third time I saw demons coming out of the ceiling, and after that I was like, I don't know if I ever want to do this again, but I do have mushrooms in my suitcase, and I have it because I was gonna do it, and then I found out I was pregnant a month later. And I was just like, I was waiting for the right time, and then the right time never came because now I'm pregnant, so can't do it.
That's the truest thing, though. The time is right. The time is right. You can't force these things. It's no joke. But yeah, mushrooms. I do them. I try to do them once a year, if I can. And being outside and being with good people when you do them is everything as well.
You have to be in a good mood you have to just feel happy. The time I did it and I saw demons was I was with my ex, and I was just laying there and I was so annoyed. He went to go make tea and he had a bag filled with them, and I was like, why is he making tea? I just want to take it. I just want to do it. Right. So while he left, I grabbed like 3 of the mushroom heads and I just like ate them, like these like big, and I didn't think anything was going to happen. So I did it to myself, because then on top of that, he came back with the tea, started drinking the tea, and I was fucked. I was like, damn. Yeah. I was seeing the TV, like we were watching some type of like cartoons. They were like flying out at me. It wasn't great.
Yeah. It definitely is just a reflection of you when you boil it down. But back to the ayahuasca.
How'd you find it? How did you ask? Like, how did you go about like?
Literally just Googled. Which was kind of a bummer in a sense, because I had this whole idea of it being so mystical, and like my original idea was to just fly down there with no plans and find somebody and figure it out that way. But I talked to a few people and I was like, maybe I should just like research it a little, And there's a bunch of places, and places have been doing it for years, honestly. They probably taken advantage of the gringo money a little bit, but they have, the place I went to was called Dream Glade in Iquitos, and like I said, I was there for 12 days. It was as legit as it got. It's basically like they feed you super clean, no salt, no oil. Obviously you're not doing any drugs of any kind. They have this nice little lake. You have your own little place to sleep in the jungle. It's trying to sleep alone in the jungle, like when you're not outside, but like basically just a screened in little hut, essentially. Man, was it scary.
That was gonna be my question. How scared were you? Did you sleep the first night?
It was a little weird the first couple. It took a few nights to get used to it.
Were you
crazy
alone?
Yeah, I went solo for the whole 6-week trip. Yeah. Colombia for 2 weeks, and then ayahuasca for 2 weeks, and then I hiked. I spent a week in Cusco, and then I did a week hike to Machu Picchu.
Oh wow, Machu Picchu!
It was unbelievable. Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like if I'm jumping around too much, drag me back in.
No, it's A-okay. I'm gonna drag you in right now. So, how many pictures did you end up taking in your whole trip? Because that's a 6-week trip. Yeah.
So, the reason I put photography on the back burner a little bit. I didn't take my real fancy cameras. I didn't take a lot of lenses. I've been doing this for 15 years solid. So, truthfully, just a little burnt out, right? I wanted to go down there, escape everything. I brought a camera, but it was just a fixed lens, small, little mirrorless camera, no options. I couldn't zoom. It just took pictures, manual, like full manual, like an old school 35 millimeter camera. But I just wanted to slow down and just kind of, have a different vibe for a little bit and not be so worried about getting pictures here and there. And it was perfect. Took a lot of pictures still, don't get me wrong. A lot of street photography, just walking around. And I was the first person at Machu Picchu. So we hike from starting Monday morning. We'll walk like 50 miles through the mountains over the next 4 days. We get to the town Thursday night, like at the base of Machu Picchu, which is like way more developed than I ever thought it was going to be. It's not crazy developed, don't get me wrong, but like there's a city there, there's restaurants, there's like, you know, where the train stop is that brings the people who don't hike there.
They'd be bringing me if I was there. I'm not about to hike no damn 50 miles. I'd be no.
Yeah, options for everybody. Yeah. So then the next morning we're up super early. Our tour guide knows the deal. Like, shout out to Sergio. Amazing dude. He was like, listen, we have to get up at this time. We have to go. We're going to be the first people there. I promise you. So we get there. There's, from the base town too, you can take a bus. It's like a 20-minute bus ride that just basically zigzags up the side of the mountain. Or you can walk that as well. You can walk basically straight up the mountain, which takes an hour or so, 45 to an hour. Legit, like straight up. And after walking 50 miles, half the people that we were with were like, yeah, we're just taking the bus. But me and two other people took the final descent, which felt great getting to the top at that point. But we get there. Our group meets us on the bus. We're literally the first people in line giving our tickets. And our tour guide, like a schoolgirl, is just kind of following us. He's happy. He's giddy. It was a cloudy morning somewhat, so we weren't sure if we were even going to see it. So whatever, obviously we're going. He takes us to the spot. We walk in. We kind of hurry up, go left a little bit. Everyone else forks off to the right because the right takes you like to the ruins. But the left where he took us was like up a little bit on the side to get a good view of the ruins before you like go into them. You know what I mean? It's still where we were was, you know, the ruins, but it's humongous. It's breathtaking. It really is. I'm getting goosebumps again. So we get there, a little cloudy. You can kind of see it. The clouds disappear. The sun comes up for like 10 minutes. So we're there. We spend 2 minutes with our jaws on the ground, just taking it all in. It's unbelievable. The feeling is like palpable right now. It was so crazy. Got the most amazing people-less photo. Like a lot of photos on Machu Picchu, it's tough to get without any people in there because it's a huge tourist attraction. But getting that one photo, man, I was like, I don't want to say it changed my life, but like, it just made me realize how just big the world is and how rich the history is everywhere and how small and insignificant some, you know, we people are at times. And I had every thought. It was borderline religious.
I believe you. That's what I hear. That's what I hear.
Yeah. Have you seen any wonders of the world?
No. I mean, I've been to Peru like a million times, but to Machu Picchu and there, no. I've been to like, Argentina, Chile. Okay. I haven't been to Colombia. I want to go to Colombia. I want to go to Mexico. I'm surprised I haven't been to Mexico. Well, no, it's because I've been like so scared to go to Mexico. Yeah. And I don't know why, because in Peru, depending on where you are, if they know you're American, like you will get kidnapped. And like, so when I lived there, I lived with my sister and my aunt's from there, but they found out that we came to live there, and then they tried to kidnap us, but they ended up breaking into the house next door, and it was two old people, but they thought that was where we were staying, and it wasn't. So then after that, we were like, now we need more security, and it was just a big thing. We ended up leaving like maybe 8 months later, but yeah. So ever since, I've been like, I haven't done any traveling like to like beautiful places since I've been an adult, which I really want to do. All the traveling I've ever done, thank God for my mom. Like, she's always been like, I want you guys to see places. I want you guys to do things. But as an adult, I was just like, I want to work, make money, shop. I've never actually like said, let me travel. And then now with having kids, it's like, damn, when am I going to do that again? Yeah. And I'm going to wait until they're a little bit bigger so that they can enjoy. So when they're like 5 or 10 or something.
Yeah. Where do you think you take?
Definitely to Peru, because I learned a lot in Lima. I learned a lot. Just, you see kids. It's not like over here where kids are going to school here. Over there, a lot of kids are working on the street. They're selling little candies. Over there, you can't just run water. Like, you can, but like after a while, it's gonna come off. And like, there's a lot of things you learn from just being there. And we, like, my mom didn't live there. She sent us money, like American money is more like the value or whatever.
Yeah.
So we lived pretty good over there. But even with living pretty good, it was still very, very, like, life-changing. Like, coming back here, and then, like, I would be like, Mom, turn off the sink. If you're gonna be, like, washing dishes, turn off the sink and do that, and then you rinse it. And, like, I still do that now, and I love washing dishes. I don't like running the dishwasher. Like, I'll do it if, like, it's a lot of stuff. But, like, ask Ig. We had a dishwasher at the house, and I literally never, he's like, you don't have to wash dishes, just put it. I'm like, no, for what?
Wow.
Just
I respect that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of little things. The biggest thing that I fell off on, and my mom said that I've fallen off a lot, I don't like leftovers. And she always goes, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Meaning you won't eat leftovers? Or you don't like
Not that I won't eat it.
Yeah.
Sometimes, depending on what it is, I will eat it.
Yeah.
But like Igne will tell you, I literally, like, if there's leftovers, even if it's from a restaurant or leftovers from dinner from the night before, I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason of, yeah, it's so weird. But my mom just recently, she was just like, Deborah, like, do you remember when you were in Peru? Like, there's people that can't eat, or that they have to, like, sell the last bit of stuff in the street so that they can eat or give food to their families. And this was just like a week ago. So it's so very ironic that we're, like, talking about this. But yeah, so.
Serious life lessons.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's people in this country, in America, most of them have no idea. They think they know how good they have it. Man, they don't know. I've seen some poor places. I've seen the craziest thing. I went to Guatemala as well for a photo trip back in 2003.
How was that?
It was 10 years ago. It was 2010, I guess. It was incredible, beautiful, shocking, eye-opening, scary, everything. But I remember this day because it was my 23rd birthday, and we went to a trash dump as a group of photographers. And there's basically families living I don't know if they live there, but that's where they spend 90% of their time. Collecting cans, jewelry, trucks will come and dump trash out, and these people will just sparse through it all, looking for anything valuable, anything. Wow. There's kids playing. There's babies in diapers just sitting on, like, cardboard boxes, just, while their parents are working. Everyone's just hanging out there. But my point is, the kids were the happiest, playing, big smiles, genuine joy, just really, really happy. I imagine that feeling fades the older you get, being there your whole life, I would guess. But, man, up until a point, you really don't know better. You're alive. You're having fun with your buddies. You have no idea that you're sitting in a trash dump, And people in this country are just like, don't get me started.
No, it's so true. Yeah. That is, saying that, I think of, like, when I was living there, and my aunt would take me to, like, different parts of Peru, like, where they grew up, because they didn't grow up with money. So my aunt would take me, and I would see kids playing around with no shoes on. Playing with a soccer ball with no shoes. And then when I came back here, and my mom would be like, you're so ungrateful, like, if I asked for shoes, and she'd be like, I don't have it. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have it? You had it when I lived over there. She's like, it's different. And then, like, I didn't understand. And then as I got older, I'm like, those little things start coming back to me where I'm just like, yo, people really didn't have that much of anything. People didn't have computers in their house. Like, they had, like, little stores where you could go in and rent a computer for a half an hour or whatever. Yeah. Well, they had that. Yeah. And then, like, they had the markets. And have you been to any of the markets, either in Guatemala or in any of the countries that you've been to?
I went to one in Iquitos, and it was, pardon the joke, it was Wuhan. It was like a wet market. There was alligators. There was, like, crazy shit in there. And I was like, I shouldn't be here. I'm going to get very sick, is how I felt. But it was still fascinating. People doing what they got to do.
I remember being so scared going into them, but we would go once a week. I'd go with my aunt, with my sister, and I'd hold her hand, and I'd hold my aunt's hand, and we'd walk through, and I'd be so scared more so because they had animals everywhere just hanging, and
Everywhere.
like you'd see them cutting them, you could see the whole. So like when I think, like, it's funny that you make that reference, because when this whole thing happened, I'm like, doesn't just happen in China, it happens everywhere. Like
Exactly.
there's people eating this stuff everywhere. There's like people have no idea. People are just so ignorant sometimes, and if they don't know any, it's not that they're ignorant because they want to be, but they just don't know any better. So.
It's both lack of education, but more so lack of, not lack of, but just people are just way too comfortable. Food and water are way too easy to come by. So like at that point, it's almost not even people's fault. I feel it's just. I always say this, a little fucked up of me. I feel bad, sort of. Disclaimer: I don't want anybody to die. I'm not happy anybody's getting sick. Blah blah blah, all that. But I think this virus was a great. Again, I don't want whatever. It was great that it happened in the sense of it really kind of gave people a very very small wake up call, a little nudge, like, hey motherfucker, you're sensitive. You can die tomorrow based off.
You can get everything taken away in a blink of an eye. And it's funny because a lot of people, they take advantage of all these things, and they're not grateful for the little things that they have. And now that it's being taken away, like their damn life, I mean, it's not little, but people are like, oh no. And then I think it's so nuts, the people that are like, reopen the gyms and let me protest this, and people are completely forgetting that people are still dying. So I understand the protesting and I understand the rioting, but there's a lot going on.
It's hard to see what is really going on if you haven't been affected personally. And the internet is a problem in the sense of just it's echo chamber after echo chamber. Like whatever you think, you'll just get fed right back the same information. Nobody learns. Nobody is trying to learn. Nobody's trying to seek alternate information. It really is a problem. It's a serious problem, as we can tell. Shit's fucked up.
I agree. So, okay, let's bring it back. I have a few questions for you, a few more questions for you. What's your favorite thing about photography?
The freedom. The freedom, for sure. I think that's what draws me the most to it. It was something I was interested in and good at to start, which is a good base to have. But from there, I was like, man, I'm booking gigs where I'm meeting all kinds of different people. Like, for example, this was one of the crazier gigs. This was less than a year ago. I want to say in the fall. This past fall, I got a gig to basically cover the president of Guinea flew here to meet with some business people, and I was hired just to kind of shadow them all day while they just did their thing. And it's like legit, this dude is the president of a country. It's like no small thing, he landed at Logan, and there was 20 cars, like a whole what do you call it? What's the word I'm trying to think of? When there's just a bunch of police cars trying to protect one guy, whatever the word is, you get it. And I'm like, this is wild. So I'm meeting people like this, like learning, see how things operate in their world. I'm shooting high school sports. I'm, shooting music in concerts and like being backstage. Are you familiar with the Warped Tour?
Yeah. So
one crazy time that I had with that was I made my way onto the main stage at the Warped Tour, and I'm back there and I'm filming, taking pics back there. And
how did you do that? That's dope. That's a big deal.
Just tattoos and confidence.
Oh, tattoos and confidence.
Truthfully, for the Warped Tour, yeah. Yeah, but it's just taken me everywhere, and that's really what I like about it the most. It's allowed me, like I said, I was good enough to earn money. I could book gigs now. But now I saw the freedom it really gave me. Like, whatever I'm interested in, I can just go in that direction and just take pictures of it. But still, now I'm just in a whole different world. Like, that's what I like about weddings, truthfully. It's, your office changes every week. it's a party. Everyone's so happy to see you. Unlike photojournalism, for example, which is the opposite, where you pull up a camera and people nowadays are like, what are you doing? What are you taking a picture of? You can't do that. Weddings are fun, man. And like, you can be so creative that people trust you to deliver. I'm delivering art to people. I'm just taking pictures. I'm not complicating it anymore.
But you take really good pictures.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You've taken a lot of great pictures of me, so that's why
Is that right?
I just know me. And I'd say my kid, but my kid just doesn't sit well. But yeah.
Let's get her in my studio. We'll check.
Wait. So what would you have done differently, like from the start of your journey? Like, do you feel like, is there anything that you could have done differently, would have done differently?
My first response to that question is always nothing, because I'm truly happy where I am, and I understand that the journey is the journey, and if you change something, then where I am now could end up differently. But that's a boring answer. I would say I wish I strengthened my just overall business skills earlier. I've always been kind of just a spacehead, just aloof. I'm literally just an artist who got lucky as far as, like, I call myself a business owner, but I'm just meeting people and taking their picture and then delivering it to them, So like when it comes to branching out bigger, and because I would like a sustainable business to run underneath me, because I'm not going to be young forever. Photography is kind of a young man's game in the way that I do it now, weddings and portraits and whatever it may be. As I get older, I can take pictures of birds and walk slow, just, you know what I mean? Whatever it may be. I think it's a young man's game. So I wish that I had, developed my business acumen sooner, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. And I know you said the craziest thing was last year with the president, with that president of that country. What is the most outlandish or craziest like request that you've gotten to shoot?
Probably a married couple fucking.
Really? Did you do it?
I didn't say no. I didn't say no. Whatever. I'm a grown man. I can handle this. It's gonna be a pretty price. And then we didn't get to talk about price. We sent a couple emails back and forth, and then I just never heard from him again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anything else? That's crazy though.
Yeah,
that
was wild.
Have you ever gotten any? I know. How long have you been with your wife?
15 years. It'll be 15 years in August.
Oh, okay. So, this question still applies kind of, because some people just have no respect. Have you ever gotten any women that like throw themselves at you? Because women and men like creatives. So like, have you ever gotten anyone that just like flat out did not respect that you were in a relationship or whatever the case?
So, yes. The one story that I'm thinking of, I will not say a name, and I did not take advantage of it because she is a friend. And I've never confirmed with her what was happening, but I'm not stupid. I see what you're doing. And I'm kind of naive and shy also, like extremely. So I just get nervous, kind of, when a girl hits on me. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Feels weird. So it was, the chances were there. I've, like I said, never taken advantage. Yeah.
That wouldn't be you taking advantage of someone's like, here, unless they're drunk or something crazy.
No, nobody was drunk, but I guess you're right. Ultimately, you are right. But I mean that in the sense of, as much as I feel like I'm just kind of like a space-headed artist or whatever, I still take what I do very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always had a great sense of like forethought,
Mm-hmm.
And I've never, as an adult, I've had forethought. I'll say that. High school and before that, just to be frank, your boy thought with his other head. After that, I grew up a little bit. I started realizing what the world is, that this is a long game. Relationships are everything in life. I love people. I don't want to not be friends with somebody that I'm currently friends with. And I feel that if something like that goes down, it's a one-way street from that point. Like, if we're not going to get married, it's not going to end well, I feel. So I've always avoided anything even remotely like that for that reason. Just trying to preserve my future brand, if you will. You can't see my air quotes through the audio, but
no, that makes sense. Cool.
Yeah.
What's your number one advice you would give someone that's trying to get their foot in the door into either photography or entrepreneurship?
Do it. Say yes to everything and do it, and be okay being uncomfortable. Be okay being poor. And if you're doing it for the right reasons, none of this even matters. Just have fun, truthfully. But say yes to everything as well. As long as it's in your field, even remotely, just say yes. I said yes to everything. I worked for free for so many years. I had no money until I was 28 years old. Put it that way.
So the things that you did for free, though, it was for free, but you were gaining something because you were gaining the experience and you were gaining the stuff for your portfolio, basically.
100%. Yeah.
So essentially, later on, it does come back to help you.
Yes, but I wasn't thinking about it that way. I mean, that's ultimately what happens, regardless, I feel. But that's not how or why I did it. I thoroughly enjoyed everywhere that I was and everything that I was doing, and learning photography was amazing. I look back, I still have some of my very first pictures, when I first started shooting film, and I look at the picture and I'm like, this is crazy that this was like, I liked this. I really thought this picture was great and I was stoked on it. But now I'm literally sitting in my studio right now. I haven't had a boss in 8 years. I see so many cool fucking pictures that I've done with so many cool people in so many different places on my wall in my studio, and I afford a car and I've just been able to do it for this long. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's just based off love and saying yes and not bullshitting yourself.
Dope.
And, yeah.
That's awesome. So what is next for Josh London?
Oh my goodness. I don't know, truthfully. I think I'm at a crossroads right now because, one, babies due very soon. COVID threw a wrench in the mix. I'm at a crossroads, truthfully. I don't want to say that I'm afraid to say that I'm losing passion, but I don't think it's that. I think I just need to switch my gears a little bit. Photography is always there. Photography will always be there. But I've been doing it half my life at this point, kind of the same way. You know what I mean? I've learned the craft. I mastered, I don't want to say I mastered, but, photojournalism I did, weddings I did, portraits I did. You name it, genre-wise. Like, I've done it, everything that I've been interested in. But I have a lot more interests, like, really, really big interests, like, and I just can't decide, truthfully, which direction to go. Everything from, like, politics is a route. Do I want to do stand-up comedy? Do I want to do a podcast? There's so much to life. And right now, I feel like I'm just a boat kind of spinning in the ocean. It's a nice boat. I like the boat. Don't get me wrong. But kind of just have to, at this point, make a move and pick something and go on a new journey.
Do you think that you would leave photography in the background?
No.
That's always going to be your main thing. You're just looking for like 100%. Something else on the side.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just, I guess, a little bored. You
need a hobby.
And see that, thank you for saying that. And that's ultimately the problem. This was my hobby.
That turned into your life.
Now I have to do it. And when I was young, I said I don't want to do anything for money because I have to do it. So it's like I'm antithetical, or like in that regard, where it's I feel like it's, I think you know what I'm trying to say. It's just I have to do it now. So deep in me, I'm like, well, fuck you then. I don't want to do you anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just a contrarian by nature, and I always want to take the hard route. I always want to I want to dig up myself from a hole, truthfully. And I'm not in a hole right now. Everything's great. That's the problem. As weird as that sounds, everything is awesome.
Do you smoke weed?
I do.
Okay, so smoke a blunt, just relax. If you drink, get a drink, and just don't think about it too much, because you are actually living a lot of people's dream.
I know.
And I know that you might be bored. Like I said, get a hobby, because don't make that hobby your main. Keep your main and get a hobby. Do something fun. Podcasting is fun. Do videos. Stay away from the camera. Do something that's like completely away from what you do on your normal.
Yeah, photography will always be there, but just need, I need a new hole to dig myself out of. That's all. Just a new goal.
Good.
Nothing against photography.
Yes. So let's move on into the second segment, which is the weekly shenanigans. And this is where we discuss bullshit that we've seen on social media this week. It could be a story that you've seen or you heard. It could be something amazing, a picture, a video, anything really. So did you see anything? This week has been absolutely nuts with everything going on.
Just throw it out there for what it is. The George Floyd story.
Yeah,
rightfully so, has taken over. And man, it's such a bummer. People don't, this is why I didn't want to bring it up, because it's a super bummer, but it's real, and it's as real as it gets, and this problem's not going away. Slowly but surely, progress is being made in the sense of, and even saying that, I hope, man, I thought progress was being made years ago, but this shit still happens.
Like all the time. It's so crazy. Like just a couple of weeks ago, the Bryonna, I can't remember her last name right now. Was it Taylor? The woman that died when the police came into their house accidentally.
Their house. Yeah.
Yeah, and like all these different stories that you're seeing, it's just like not slowing down. It's like every month it's another story and another story. It's like the justice isn't being served, and people aren't being held accountable, which is why certain police officers feel like they can get away with it. And have you seen any of the videos, like the live videos of the people outside of that police officer's house?
Whoa, no.
So there's hundreds of police officers outside of the police officer's house because people are rioting and they're standing outside day and night outside of his house.
Wow.
Yeah, so people are really upset, which they're rightfully so. Then have you seen like the Target and like that whole shopping plaza?
I love it.
I think that's so crazy. I feel more so things aren't going to be changed doing that. I think if nothing else, like, I don't know, like that's just not the way.
I disagree slightly.
Why?
Slightly. And when I say disagree slightly, I should just mention I play the devil's advocate in my head on every single situation. That being said, what the fuck else is there to do?
No, that's true.
People don't listen. No justice is ever rightfully served. Oh my God. The photos, the comparison photos of like Dylan Roof being taken out in handcuffs, and then fucking, you name black person just being killed for nothing. And that, I lost my train of thought a little bit. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Where was I going?
You were the devil's advocate of me saying that they shouldn't have done that to Target.
Right. So, everything has been tried. Peace has been tried. Just asking has been tried. Barring all like straight up war, people think about money, right? And if you loot and if you steal and if you cause a ruckus and you put a little dent in the economy, people start to think like, fuck, man, now I'm losing money or the company's losing money. Whatever it may be, money gets people's attention.
That is very true.
And do I agree with people destroying personal property, business property, stealing shit? Ultimately, no, I don't. But this problem is not going away.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. And I think something has to be done, man. But regardless of what I think, I'm putting myself in the shoes of the people there and everywhere, really. It just has to end, man. People are so fired up. People are so angry. And
people are over it. It's like,
that too, but
imagine.
people are literally dying still.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. So, like, what the fuck is it gonna take? You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's a man.
Yeah, I don't like Trump, but did you see what he said today?
On the Twitter thing?
Yeah, not on what he said about the whole, because that's actually what I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
The Twitter thing where he wants to,
Yeah, we'll get
he tweeted that he wants justice for him, for George, for George Floyd?
George Floyd.
Yeah. That he wants justice for him and like all these things, that justice will be served and all this stuff. And I was like, wow, I'm really surprised that he's like coming to his defense, because normally he's like, a video surfaced of like 2016 where he was saying he was speaking to a bunch of police officers saying that to not cover their heads when they're putting someone down and into the police car and like all these different things. So it was like a complete 360 like that he made in
was
his.
This before he was president?
The other that I'm pretty sure 2016. No, I think it was right when he became president, because he was talking. Usually, I mean, he wouldn't be
like
talking
the police
to
union or whatever big speech. That
I believe
was.
so.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was very surprising today to see that, and I was just like, oh, he sucks, but at least he's doing something, and hopefully he comes to the defense of him and will arrest that police officer that had his knee on George's neck, because he needs to be more than just fired. Yeah, he absolutely did commit murder on camera.
Straight up.
Mm-hmm.
What he did was just so unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. I mean, Trump is his own animal. I think more than half is just politics, you know, to him. When you see rioters and looters in the street and like, you're not to make it only about this. Maybe he is a good guy. Maybe he did have a heartfelt moment with that tweet, but Biden is trying to get the black vote.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Trump feels like this is a good opportunity to try to win some black votes. I don't know.
I could see that.
Maybe. That guy's clearly just out of his mind.
Yeah, I can't believe he's president. Like,
the
things he says, he's
Donald Trump. Still, it's still bizarre. We are living in the fucking Matrix, man. It doesn't... How weird has the last... Not even just 4 months. The last, 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
How weird has it been?
It's been like a real life reality show. Like, it's like a joke.
It's disgusting, because this is life. This is our actual life. You know, people will live and die in the span of this reality show and not know any other way of living.
My friend was saying, she's like, I moved to Canada 7 years ago. She's like, I'd never go back. And like, I've met other people, like I know other people that are like, I would never go there. Like, why would I go to the United States? Like, your president is horrible and he's probably going to get voted again. I'm like, I hope he doesn't, but like, I wouldn't be surprised
fingers
if
crossed,
he did.
But Biden is not a good candidate either.
I agree, but like, I like him more than...
For sure.
Like, he just seems I don't know. I'm definitely going to end up voting for him, because any vote for anybody against Trump is, for me,
exactly
a better vote. So my weekly shenanigans this week is Trump, and he said that he wants to shut down Twitter moments after signing an executive order emphasizing his commitment to free and open debate on the internet. So I personally think that's a little absurd, because that is giving people the green light to cyberbully, and like, it's giving the people that have a bigger platform and like are way more outspoken this right to like just come for people that don't have a voice or want to express themselves in like a slight way. I get freedom of speech because I am very outspoken. I speak my mind all the time, but I don't speak it. I don't go towards people. I don't come at people or want to make them feel bad. Where if you're giving someone this type of freedom, they are now going to come for people all the time. So the internet is going to be even worse than what it is right now.
I'm afraid you're right. I look at it as it's a very tricky situation, a very deep situation in the sense freedom of speech is everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's everything. Most countries don't have it. You know, that alone is remarkable when you get it. But when you go to the internet, it's not just a community of people, a bar where you can just leave the situation. And if somebody's talking crazy, just leave and your problem's over. But on the internet, it's become way more invasive than your old life used to be. Like, it's just how it is. Everything is online. Everything. And everybody is addicted to their phones and addicted to social media. Whether you admit it or not, these shits are in us now. It's only a matter of time before the phones are in our body. It's just a matter of time. So thinking like that, you have to adopt a new approach, and you can't just look at it as a free speech thing. Having free speech as the basis makes a lot of sense, but it's different, and it's complicated, and it's new, and we don't even have, like, just humans in general, our brains aren't even like that. Like I just said, the last 4 years has been like dizzying almost. Our software isn't updated to the current hardware, or maybe vice versa, but the internet's new. All this communication is new. It's like the internet basically turned the light on, and the whole world has been in the dark for 6,000 years. Humanity's just been in the dark. People are, bumping into each other, being like, "Oh, my bad, sorry, keep it moving." And then somebody turned the light on, and there's some fucked up shit going on over there in the corner. There's fucking police killing people over here. There's what? This government's doing what? The light is being shined on everything, and that's ultimately the issue, and it's fucking with people's heads. We're not ready for it. We're not prepared for it. We're literally going through the biggest cultural shift, like minds shift, whatever you want to call it. It's a very serious thing that's happening right now. And
I'm scared for my kids, for your kids, for all our kids, like the way that they're going to grow up with this, if he makes this type of change, I know he could always go back, but at the same time, it's like, what if it doesn't? What if things do become way more free and way more speaking whatever you want and saying whatever you want to whoever you want, because I can debate whoever I want. And debate is just a nice word for arguments and fighting. Like, he's just sugarcoating being able to argue with someone whenever you want.
Unfortunately, that's true. Yeah. But that kind of relates to my point of what I was trying to get at, in the sense, like, I say in the sense of, well, I hate when I listen to myself talk for a while and I start noticing the words that I repeat. People are fucked up in the brains right now, and we don't even know it. And people aren't happy. People are poor. People are broke. People can't afford nothing. Everybody in this country is being fucking robbed. Like, we got $1,200 checks, and everyone was like, wait, you can just send out money? Like, you just have money? Where the fuck has this been? How come people on unemployment are making more than people getting paid minimum wage? Why is minimum wage so low? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Clearly there's money to fix that. Everyone's just getting fucked. Everyone's pissed. And everyone's just trying to look out for themselves and their family. So when you look at it from that angle, it only makes sense that people are going to lash out online. It's like road rage. It's like you're in your little bubble. You can freak the fuck out, but as soon as that dude gets out of the car and comes into your face in real life, you're apologizing. You didn't know. Sorry, I didn't mean to beep at you, sir. whatever the fuck. It's the same thing online. Like, people are in their little bubbles. When you can't read and literally feel somebody's emotion in front of you, all bets are off.
Mm-hmm.
That's how humans interact. That's how genuine progress is made. Like, you can't figure something out unless you really feel how the person in front of you is feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You absorb that shit, and like, the internet has fucked everything up. Social media has fucked everything up, and it's very serious. Like, I don't know if I'm harping on it too much, if I sound crazy or whatever, but it's a really serious transition. It's crazier than, it's on par with the printing press, I suppose, but that took a long time because that was just able to print books, and now people can, maybe if they have money, get their hands on a book and learn some new information. This thing, like I said, all the information in the world is available to everybody whenever they want it.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking heavy.
Yeah, at your fingertips, whenever, at any time, any moment you want.
That's a lot. You realize, what a piece of shit you think you are personally. You realize what a piece of shit your father was, your mother was. You realize you fucking hate your family. You realize you love your family, but you haven't talked to them in a while. It's so deep, and everything is just so broken right now. I'm incredibly hopeful, to be real. Like I said, I'm a devil's advocate, so I try to see things from all angles. I'm hopeful. I think it's, the saying is, it's always darkest before dawn. Humans are resilient, man. We'll get out of this. I'm confident. There's so many people online fighting the good fight, like self-help people, and so many people just preaching kindness and love and no bullshit, don't litter, take care of the environment, exercise, fucking don't have that can of soda, and whatever the case may be, in whatever facet, save your money, learn about finance, learn what the fuck a stock is, don't blow your money, all of it. It's all happening so fast, and we're in the middle of it, and that's why it's literally a whirlwind, and people aren't capable of handling it. So
yeah, there's good and bad in the internet for sure.
Oh my God, yeah, there's so much good as well, of course.
Because you see like how far we've come with racism, but so much further we have to go. Yeah. And it's like, you think, like, because so much time has passed, not even so much time, but a lot of time has passed, and you would think that things are going to change, or things should have changed more. Yeah. But it's like, we've
been complacent for 40, 50 years.
Yeah, and now it's just so much more we have to learn. So now people have to learn to be good human beings outside of the internet and on the internet. They have to learn to be open-minded to other people's opinions, and it's really tough. It's a tough world where we're living in right now.
Yeah, it's nuts, but like I said, I'm hopeful. I think everything is going to play out beautifully.
I hope so.
So much technology, so much of the old guard, dying off, if you will. There was so much old thought. It's a Joe Rogan quote from a joke he had. He was talking about, history and how it's not that long. He said, I think it was 1776, like when this country was founded. Less than 300 years ago. Right? His joke is, that's 3 people ago. If someone lives to be 100, let's just say, that's 3 people ago.
That's crazy.
Isn't that fucked? It's not that long ago. So, like, yeah, we've come a long way. Slavery's not a thing in this country anymore. Black people can vote. Like, but those are all minuscule compared to the ultimate goal, which is just fucking understand that everybody is just a person. And that's the shit that takes hundreds of years, apparently. Some people caught on quick with the internet. Some people realized, like, oh shit, this is still fucked up. Even 5 years ago, like when you started seeing all the police brutality videos popping up, and you started hearing more about the cases with the proliferation of social media, of course, making it easy to do that. And it's like, this is happening, and some people changed. Some people changed their behavior, their viewpoints, but we still have parents who think the same way. They still have grandparents who are just ingrained in their views. It just takes a while.
I agree.
It sucks. It just takes a while. It fucking sucks.
People have to die off. Sounds
Truthfully,
bad, but it's like so true.
it's
Because like
very
it is
truthful.
those, I mean, I don't know. It's easy to ignore like the older generation, like when they talk their shit, but it's still a little sting
Yeah,
on certain things. And it's like, okay.
a lot of people's grandparents are racist.
Yeah,
A
I've
lot.
met a few that I met them. I was just like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm not coming back here.
right.
But I'm
Just
very
oh,
polite, so I'm not gonna be like, okay, lady, shut the fuck
right,
up.
right. You take it in. You know who you're talking to, and you know how to treat that person from now on.
For sure.
Yeah.
So let's get into the weekly check-in, and this is where we talk about a current event that isn't bullshit that we might have seen on a show or a movie or social media or the news or a magazine, whatever you felt was worth talking about.
Hmm.
So for me, this week I saw it in Business Insider. Business Insider. They said that the U.S. mortgage rates are going down for the third time since March, and they were saying in the interwebs that this is the millennials' time to buy a house. And I thought that was really cool. Oh,
I
sorry,
hope it.
headphones.
I hope it continues in that direction.
Same. Do you think that if it keeps going down, you would be buying a house anytime soon, or how do you feel about buying a house?
I've gone back and forth with that. Ultimately, it's probably a smart choice to own a house. In this country, in this economy, whether it's bad or good, the economy at the time, it's having somewhere that is yours is good.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't have something that's yours, you can just be fucking kicked around, and
Have
I've
no
lived in so many
stability.
places throughout my life, through so many different houses growing up, that like I never really had my own home base. I never was anywhere for more than like 4 or 5 years at most. And growing up, I was like, well, as I get older, I should say, I start to realize the benefits of just having a home base. Like, it's probably good to own a house, and they've been astronomically priced for so long.
Massachusetts is expensive.
It's crazy, crazy. I love where I live. I really do. I think New England in general is one of the best places to live in the world, all things considered. If you take weather, you know, whatever facet you want to break it down to, but New England's amazing.
Don't tell Igne that, because he will
Yeah,
say
he likes it.
otherwise.
Yeah, what's his thought?
Brooklyn.
I was just gonna say, obviously New York's not part of New England. Yeah, yeah, but he's misguided. Yeah,
He's funny. He's so silly. He's always just like, Boston sucks, Massachusetts sucks, and this. I'm like, then leave. If you don't like it, leave. I've been saying this. I've been preaching this shit to him for so long. I'm just like, when this whole thing came about, we went to Florida last year for Victoria's birthday, and I was like, I want to move. I want to move to Orlando. I really love it. Like it's so family, like fun. Oh, I love this. And then he was like, oh yeah, maybe. But we had been talking about moving to a different state for so long. So when all this came about and we like broke up and everything, I was just like, hey, so can we move? Because this is the best time. And everything just worked out. And like he and I are still really good friends, and like we're still really tight and everything. So it just worked out where he's going to be able to come and all that stuff. So awesome. I'm really excited. I want to buy a house, but I just don't know exactly where, because I like Florida.
It's such a big decision.
It is a big decision because like you're
you
just
go to a country too. You don't have to be here. That's another benefit of being American. You can go to like 80% of the world and buy a house if you want.
Yeah, I like Georgia a lot.
My brother lives in Georgia. My brother has a house just outside.
Where in Georgia?
20 minutes outside. I forget the name. Smyrna.
Yeah,
maybe 25 minutes
Georgia.
outside.
It's still, because you still hear of like the hangings and like all that stuff depending on where in Georgia, but that scares me because like I might be light skinned and whatever, but like I'm gonna raise 2 Black women, and that's they might be a little lighter, but to certain people they might not be light enough, and so it's really tough. I have to think about like all those type of things living in the South. And it's
Yeah, the
like,
South is rough. It's scary. And who would have thought it's 2020 and we're having a decision and you don't know where to buy a house because you're afraid of the worst. It's fucked.
Yeah, and then I also have to keep Igne in mind because I know wherever I go, he's not going to stay behind. He's definitely a man of wherever his kids are going, he's going.
Yeah,
And like,
he's a world traveler anyway. He's moving around. Yeah.
Yeah, so I always have to keep him in mind, my girls in mind, but him mainly because as a Black man, you can literally be jogging and get fucking killed. You can literally be doing anything and your life be taken from you. So I have to take all of those little things into consideration when even thinking about buying a house. So yeah, it is I definitely would love to buy a house right now because it is cheap and I have money saved, and I'm like, oh, you don't need that much money. You just need a decent credit and a good amount of money down and whatever. But it's like, that's a big commitment.
It's a
And
10-year decision.
Yeah, and I'm like, I
A
don't know if
minimum
I want to
10-year
commit.
decision.
So
You don't want to lose the money that you put down. My brother's like super good with numbers. He was explaining this to me, the one who bought a house in Atlanta. He said, literally, if you want to not, it's just a 10-year decision. So like, be prepared to be there for 10 years wherever you go. Otherwise, you're going to lose money on all the costs and all the fees and whatever. You know, if you buy and decide to sell like a year later, you're just losing money.
Yeah. Oh no. See, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's real.
So, what is your weekly check-in?
I'm interested in cryptocurrency lately.
What is that? I've heard of it, but I don't really know
of
too much.
Bitcoin, maybe.
Bitcoin, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So what is it like exactly? Isn't it like virtual money?
Essentially, but cryptocurrency and blockchain technology in general, to put it very simply, I look at it as the next level of the internet, and many people look at it that way as well. It's just a way to interact without any third parties in a verifiable way, mathematically proven way where it can't be hacked. It can't be, the technology is still new and flourishing. Bitcoin was just the first piece of it, but you can have a digital identity. You can have a digital deed to your house. Your diploma could be on the blockchain. All that means it's just extremely secure and it's there. So it's changing the world little by little.
Well, cool. I'm going to read more into it.
Yeah. I just talked a lot about it. I apologize, but
no worries. No worries.
Yeah.
So, all right, then let's get into our last segment, which is the listeners Q&A. And I didn't have any this week. So people send in your questions or stories or anything you'd like for me to answer on the podcast. And the email is Deb, D-E-B, .talk with an extra K at the end, TALKK @gmail.com. Again, that's Deb.talk with an extra K at the end @gmail.com. And yeah, do you have a story or a question that you'd like to ask me before we wrap up?
If you had to be in a one-on-one conversation with somebody for 1 hour, no, let's make it crazy, a day, 24 hours, right? Would you rather it be with someone that you agree with or disagree with?
Ooh. Someone I disagree with.
Okay. You don't think it would be a struggle?
No, because I'm really good at arguing or debating. So I would be able to always just prove my point and then prove why they're wrong.
But are you proving it if they disagree? It's just
if I'm feeling very passionate about it, yeah.
You think you could sway them?
Maybe, depending on the topic, and it depends on what we're talking about.
Right.
Because I'd have to be really passionate about it. If I'm not, then I'm probably going to give up and just be like, you know what we're going to do? Agree to disagree. That's my favorite thing.
And then you sit in silence with that person. That's what I mean. It's a 24-hour period.
So we would disagree the whole time about everything?
That's what I mean. Or just sit there. But, I don't know. I didn't think too much about this question.
Well,
you have to fill 24 hours with someone. Are you trying to change
agreeing, because it's easier to agree with someone because you can have a much better time with them than someone that you're just constantly disagreeing.
That's funny. I agree.
Yeah, imagine just sitting there, just disagreeing. Like, I want to watch this. No, well, I want to watch this because I don't like this. That's not a really good show or whatever. Or I want to eat this. Nope, you can't eat that because that is this and this. Yeah, no. The arguments would be endless. But like with agreeing, you might agree with everything, and then you guys can have a great conversation the whole day on things
About
you like.
things you agree with, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you disagree with somebody, it's like innately, it's almost like you don't like them. Unfortunately, that's kind of the reaction you have.
And then towards the end of the day, you're just like, why the fuck was I even with you at all? Like,
exactly.
So
I can't convince you. I can't make you smarter.
I never want to speak to you again. Goodbye.
Bye.
Literally. Okay, so Josh, please plug yourself. Let everyone know where they can find you, where they can book you. Well, not right now because everything that's going on, or even right now. Whatever, all that good stuff. Please.
Yeah. My social security number is.
Oh shit!
You really want to find me? No, Instagram JLoPhoto, JLOPHOTO. That's really the only social media that I'm into. So JLoPhoto is a personal. Josh London Photography is my business page. Other than that, find me on the streets. Hit me with a real conversation. I'm happy to talk whenever.
Yes, thank you again so much for coming on. I'm so happy. This was a great conversation.
I had a blast. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And then to everyone else, please remember to subscribe and review, rate the podcast. And yeah, till next week. Well, before that, we started this podcast asking, when did you know that corporate America wasn't for you? And as you can see, he knew immediately. At 15 years old, when he was working at GameStop, he was just like, this shit ain't for me.
Yeah.
That being said, if you know, you know. And everything isn't for everybody. So like I always say, keep an open mind and an open heart. Till next time, toodles.